I would say you would be my first, but
Today?
I just did one, so I was like, no, you're my second one this for this camp, but it's all good. We'll get it going, no problem.
It's all good. All right, guys. Welcome back to No Filter MMA. This is your boy BJ, and I'm back once again with the coldest motherfucker in the game, my boy Steve, the Mean Machine Garcia. How you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm doing a lot better now, man. I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. Just just chilling a little bit on a Sunday. You know how that goes.
Yeah, man. So you got to cap the year off. You got to take a little bit of time off at the end of the year. You got to go through the holidays with your family, Thanksgiving, Christmas. How did it feel for one to end the year undefeated, and for two to be able to just take a deep breath at the end of the year, enjoy Christmas, enjoy your kids, enjoy some golfing, I'm sure, and just kind of relax at the end of 2024?
It was dangerous, man, because I really enjoyed it. Uh, don't get me wrong, like I enjoy all that stuff. Probably extra because of how much hard work I put into all my fighting and everything. But
Yeah.
man, like just getting a good taste of like that time. Because I'm not saying I never spent time with them or anything like that, but
Yeah.
I felt like that was like extra quality time. You know what I mean? I got to be with
Yeah.
my family. We went on we went on a vacation and stuff. We went on a cruise. We played golf. We went to SeaWorld. We did all kinds of things, and um, man, dude, it was just like so nice to just like almost like not have any concerns whatsoever of anything. Dude, I had barbecue and I had pasta and I had steaks, and man, I probably did a little too much, but like I said, it got dangerous there for a minute because I'm like, man, this is hella good. I like this. Uh, but we had to reel it back in because we're not done with our job. So,
Yeah.
we're full speed ahead, and got a fight coming up now, and yeah, man, focus as can be.
So going into 2024, I know you were expecting a good year. It's been about a year since we done one of these. I
Yeah.
know last year when we talked, I think it was December of 2023 was the last time we did this. And you were just forecasting your 2024. You were talking about how you just, you're ready to take 2024 by the horns, man, and get some fights in. You fought twice this past year, which is great. Two times a year is good. Now that you're looking back on 2024, you fought Sue Choi, fought Kyle Nelson, finished them both. Looking back on your 2024, how did you feel at the end of the year looking back on it?
I felt a lot better at the end of the year than I did at the beginning of the year. I don't know what happened. I thought, I pissed some people off because I couldn't get matched up. Like I don't know what happened. Um, yeah, I probably went on like it looked like a 7 month dry spell where I was like, what is going on? I felt like they shelved me or something, and you know, the UFC's a machine, man. So like at the end of the day, you just work for the machine, and when your number's up, you know what I mean. That's when you answer the call and you get ready. And I finally got like a offer. I think like May, and that's when I think I fought in July. So I was like, okay, cool. I was like, and then that kind of kicked off the second half of the year. So I was happy about that, and we were very successful. And then we got the second call like a week and a half after that fight. You know what I mean, was finished, and we answered that call too, and we finished strong. So I was happy about that. But training camps were brutal. You know what I mean? My training camps are just, gosh, man, they awful. But this is what you got to do to be great. You know what I mean? Sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta sacrifice, you gotta suffer, and it pays itself off in the end. But man, 2025 is off to that same start. I'm excited to see what's to come. I like to stay busy. Definitely gonna get 2 fights this year, if not three. That's just my plan, but it's not about my plan. It's God's plan, man, and I'm just here to living in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So my boy Combo Breaker 99 says, in order for the UFC to call you, do you feel like do you need to have to train for the KO or finish?
I always train for the KO finish, no matter what. Like there's some people that are okay with getting by. That's not me. You know, you guys can clearly see like I'm not okay with that. Putting my career in judges' hands, I don't like that. I've had that happen a couple times. If I can eliminate that, I'm going to. Even in a loss situation, you know what I mean. Like I'm gonna dictate like whether I go out on my shield or who's gonna dictate this fight. You know, I'm not saying that they're all terrible, but I've seen some awful judging, and that's going to decide whether I get to have my second check or not. No, I don't. I really don't. If I can prevent it, I'm going to.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, man. So, so I mean, it's just, but the results are paying off, though. I know you talk about your training camps being brutal and things like that, man. But you you getting the results, though, man. Like, I mean, you had a
Yeah,
great 2024. I know you kind of said you had like a stale moment where you were like, all right, what's going on? Like, can I get a fight or whatever? But it's paying
yeah,
off, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
yeah.
mean, you're on this nice run here, and finally now we get to the point where, all right, we're gonna bump Steve up to the next level. We're gonna put him against the next level opponent and really test him and see what he's got going on, man. So, I mean, tell me, like, when you got this call, first of all, you're slated to fight Edson Barboza soon, actually, pretty soon.
Yeah.
What was the thought process when you got that call? Like when they called you and they put that name in front of you, and you know what kind of weight comes with that kind of a name. You know what I'm saying? So, what was it like when you got that call?
Well, if we like rewind it back a little bit, they actually gave me that phone call a week after Kyle Nelson's fight. Um,
Yeah.
they wanted me to fight him in December, and so I was like, man, I was like, I don't know how I feel about fighting him, in December, right after I just got off of this fight with Kyle Nelson. And so
Okay.
when that happened, I was like, dude, I talked to my coaches, and I was like, obviously excited because it's what I wanted. I wanted someone who was ranked. Because Kyle Nelson was fighting Calvin Cater, who's ranked. You know what I mean? And you saw what I did to him. So I thought, that was the next step. And then I talked to my coaches, and like Steve, like, I don't think you're necessarily hurting for money. I know I just saw you just go through two back to back really really hard camps. Your body's still a little bit banged up because I didn't really get beat up really in anything, but like in the Suwon Choi fight, my shin was pretty tender, and then in the uh, Kyle Nelson one, when I fell, I actually felt like I like rolled my ankle, so like that was kind of messed up. So it was just kind of like weird little injuries that had happened. And he's like, Steve, like recovery. He says Edson Barboza will be there in 2025. I promise you. And so I was listening to Greg, and I was like, okay, cool. Because Greg and Wink, they just talk and stuff, and they come to a decision together. And so I was like, okay. So then I got to enjoy my time off. And then probably in like I'd say probably like a week before Christmas, they offered me him to Barboza, and I was like, well, Greg knows what he's talking about when he's when it comes to this game. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Oh
I was
yeah.
happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was happy that he was still on the table because I kind of thought that would have been over. They probably would have given me someone else, and I think the fans would have really appreciated Edson Barboza then. So getting the opportunity to do it now, I'm like, you know what, man? I was like, this is a fireworks in the making. If people think that this is going to be a lackluster fight, I mean, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Um, there's a
Crazy as
very
hell.
very you are a very it's a very very slim chance that that will happen. You know what I mean? Fireworks from the get. He gets it. I get it. Someone's gonna get knocked out. Someone's gonna fall. So I'm just trying to do everything in my power to make sure he's the one falling and not me.
So you talked about in that Kyle Nelson fight, you felt like you kind of rolled your ankle or whatever. Like what did is it when something like that happens mid fight? What do, man? Like mentally, do you just kind of just like wall it up, block it off for the moment, and just like I'm in here. Like there's no hold on, my foot hurts or nothing like that. Like you just power through it and get it over with.
Yeah, man. You just don't. So when you train, and I'm not saying you don't feel nothing, but like you do everything you can to ignore pain. That's what all it is. You know what I mean? And people like, oh, that's crazy, or that's, or you just had an adrenaline. Adrenaline might be part of it. I don't know for sure. But I've been in a cage where I felt shots and they've hurt too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
adrenaline only
of
helps
course.
to yeah, to a certain extent. Um, and you can train your body for that, but you're not even concerned as much as, unless it's a drastic injury. Rolling your ankle is very subtle in that type of sense when it comes to someone literally trying to get on top of you and trying to punch you in the face. Your energy is all going towards, all right, make sure you're protecting yourself, make sure that you're not in a bad position. So um yeah, I didn't even notice. You felt it in the moment, because I didn't understand why, like, I felt over the way I did. Because it's not like he was like crazy strong or anything like that.
Yeah,
Uh, but it just happens. You know what I mean? It's fighting. Um, and you got to block out what you can, and just try to live in the moment. At that moment, he took my back, and he was trying to choke me out and figure out what to do next, and
yeah,
so that.
yeah, man. 'Cause I mean, that was a good fight too, and a lot of people were. It was like the story going into it was seeing how Kyle Nelson could deal with the pressure of somebody like Steve Garcia, man. And you see him try to put that pressure on you, dude, but you just rolled with the punches, man, and you did what you had to do. That ground and pound, that's like a new thing I seen from you, dude. I was like, usually Steve knocks him down on the feet, but getting him down and getting him in the ground and pound, that was a nice showing, man. Like, was that something you just that presented itself, or it's just what it is, what it is?
It's a bit of both. Again, this all just comes from my coaching. I mean, my striking, I always give Wink, tons and tons of credit because he helps me out a ton. But when it comes to evolution of some of my game, and my grappling aspect, Greg's really like he's really like stepped up and really just finding these positions that I've been able to, be in. And when I was able to almost pretty much mount him on the cage, when I landed pretty much the elbow that finished it all, we worked on that the week prior. You know what I mean? Just from different angles, that mount, and it was kind of cool how that ended up happening. Um, and I mean, obviously, I had my own little twist to it. You know what I mean? So, but all the fundamentals are there, and Greg's a genius when it comes to game planning. When it comes to, like, he literally will just like watch the opponent or watch something, and he's like, you know what, we can add this to your game, so let's try it. Or let's watch this character because I feel like it's going to cater to who you're fighting in your next fight or whatever the
Yeah,
case is.
yeah,
And he just knows how to implement it into your camp. And
yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
very blessed for Greg. I'm very blessed for Wink. Wink is just like the workhorse, man. Wink really just like puts in the time. We hit pads all the time. He has a watchful eye of my sparring. Um, and then Greg is definitely like the more brainy side of it, where he's doing a little bit more calculated, stuff, and we'll sit down, we watch lots of video, we'll sit down and we'll go over certain techniques that he thinks that will work in the fights and stuff. And
yeah,
that was just like an example of one of them, when I mounted Con Nelson against the cage, and I was able to let that elbow go. So yeah, man, when you have some of the best coaches in the world telling how to fight, it definitely is helpful, I'll tell you that.
yeah, for sure. And a lot of fighters who, I mean, starting in 2022, man, you put together, you're now on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fight finishing streak. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And most young fighters, like when they get like that, when they get a streak together like that or something, they start to get antsy. You know what I'm saying? Like they start to get antsy. Oh, I want to fight for the belt, this and that. What I've
Yeah.
noticed with you, what I've noticed with you, Steve, is you've remained consistent in the fact that, hey, I want to get there when I'm ready to be there. I want to be there
Yeah.
when I'm supposed to be there at the top. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no rush for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to work my way up. And for you, I feel like I know the UFC fighters wouldn't be here if the belt wasn't the end goal. Of course, the belt's the end goal. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like for somebody like you, a young up and coming fighter that has a lot of potential and a lot of promise and shows it, it's more about learning and becoming a better fighter for you. You always talk, every time I've interviewed you, Steve, there's always been a common denominator in what you talk about. And it's always my coaches, what I'm being taught, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. Like, you're a student of the game, man. And you talk, it comes naturally to you to talk about how much you're there to learn and to get better and to progress. And then, and once you do that the correct way, I feel like your theory is the belt should be there. The belt will be there, if I just continue to learn and continue to get better every fight, and I really can appreciate this rise that you're taking, this path that you're taking. And you're not one of those fighters who's like, I'm going to go out here and, make noise on social media and just to get a fight and stuff like that. It's just like, what they put in front of me, I'm going to take it and I'm going to do what I got to do with it.
Yeah, man, 100%, man. You kind of pretty much hit the nail on its head. It's the journey. It's about the journey. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like I said earlier, man. It's not just about my plan. It's God's plan, man. Because like when I do things and I try to like manipulate the situation or I try to force
Yeah.
things, it just doesn't happen the way that that I would expect it to. So like for me, I mean, I've had so many ups and downs in my career. I've had wins and losses. I've had moments of so many people doubting me. I've been in the game for such a long time. Um, it's crazy, when you're on the street that I'm on. You know what I mean? On how much people really like jump on your coattail, and I've been on this like I've been in this game long enough to know that like the moment you lose, bro, you hear crickets and they all scatter like roaches, man. They're gone.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just I just make sure that I have a really tight family, a really tight and close circle, because the people that want to see me win, those are the people that like I really want to win for. I love my fans. I love all the love and support that everybody else gives me. But the moment that like something doesn't happen for them, I don't meet their parlay or something ridiculous like that. You know what I mean? That they're not my favorite people. You know what I mean? Or I'm not their favorite person. And I get it all the time. It's kind of ridiculous how some people do that. I hate when people do that. I really do. I'm like, bro, like you don't need to talk. Like if you want to bet on me, by all means, do it. But don't come over here and say like, hey, bro, I bet my whole house payment on you, so please
Yeah.
come through. I'm like, dude, I could give you know I could give two
Two
shits about
fucks.
your
Two,
yes, yes.
exactly.
I get two shits about your bet. I'm not the one telling you to bet. You know what I mean? I'm over here trying to win for my family, making sure that they have food on the table. Nonetheless, like you're concerned about your house payment. Maybe you should make some smarter decisions. You know,
Exactly.
um,
Right.
so I run into stuff like that. But like I said, man, I'm trying to stay focused in all this. One fight at a time, one day at a time, one training camp at a time. And it's like you said, the belt will be there at the end. It's not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
The only person that has to make moves is me. So I got to make sure I'm doing my part. You know what I mean? And if I'm not doing my part, then someone else is. So I got to make sure that like
Yeah.
I'm killing it. I got to be slaying it out here. You know what I mean? And
Yes,
um,
sir.
people don't understand that. You know what I mean? And like it sucks because like there's a lot of things that go on in life that I've missed out on birthday parties and holiday trips and food and get-togethers and all that stuff. And people think that like that I can just skip out on trading all the time or whatever the case. I'm like, bro, like it doesn't work like that. That's not how this
Yeah.
works. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, and one day, maybe they'll understand, maybe they don't. But ultimately, I got a job to do, and we got one on in February that I'm excited for, and you know, all I can promise anybody, whoever, especially who's watching this, is I can give you everything that I got. I'm gonna give you the whole freaking thing, man. It just what's in me is what you will see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, man.
it's gonna be
We're all
electric
excited.
for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Paul Verrett says, does a W get Steve that number 15 spot in the rankings?
I don't know if it's guaranteed, but I mean, I like to think so. That would be sweet. You know what I mean? I think if I can just smoke right through them, I mean, maybe 14, but yeah, no, I'd hope so. I mean, I like to hope that they would replace me, with that ranking. But
Yeah.
Dana White doesn't even like the rankings to begin with. I don't know who operates it. I don't know who does it. As long as I'm winning, I'm getting bull checks, and on to the next, right? So
Yeah, speaking of checks, I wanted to ask you this, man. How did it feel getting those two bonuses this year?
it's good, man. Yeah, it's good. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
No, man, it I feel like I actually made money. You know what I mean? And it's
yeah.
it's good. But my goodness, dude, my accountant's like, okay, all right. She's happy. She's happy for me. So now, you know, on the other end of things, you gotta, you know, you got IRS looking at you over your shoulder, like, hey, brother, I see you making some extra money. I'm like, hold on a second, man. Like,
Well,
I don't know
yeah.
yet. Truly,
Let the
God's
check
blessed me,
clear
man.
first.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
the
Truly,
check
God's
clear
blessed me.
first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And plus, when you get your bonus check, you don't get it right away. You get it. You have
Right.
to go through like a whole process, and you have to make sure that your drug testing comes back, all clear and stuff. So, um, you don't see it for like almost 2 months. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
like I can just go out there and spend it right away. But no, man, I try to be a bit smarter about it. It's been very what I will say is like I feel like my cup's been overflowing lately. You know what I mean? Like
That's what's up.
God's really blessed me in that sense. You know what I mean? And my family has they love it. Especially my son. I've been able to buy him extra couple extra monster trucks because he loves monster
Yeah.
jam and monster
Yeah.
trucks. You know.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
what's up.
man. God's
And that's
good.
what you want to
I,
hear. That's what you want
yeah,
to hear from a young fighter. You
yeah,
want to hear a young fighter being successful. You want to hear a young fighter happy with how their year went and how their bank account looks. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to see
yeah.
that. It's from this side of the desk, you want to see that. What I was going to say, Steve, was I've seen you doing a lot of things, man. I follow you on social media. I've seen you modeling some jewelry. I've seen you, wearing some sponsored
Yeah.
stuff, man. I saw you, dog, looking fresh up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's good to see that, bro. Tell me how, like, doing these sponsorships and stuff like that, man. How do you like that side of it all?
Man, it's not if you've been following me, I'm not the biggest social media guy. I'm really
Right.
not. You know what I mean? I have it, and it's mainly majority of just my training, just because one, I even think it's like contractually obligated to have it. You know what I mean? But man, it's awesome. I have a great management team, and obviously, the more successful you are, the more followers you get, the more success you gain. People are gonna be like, "Hey, man, you want to come and do a few commercials for me? I'll send you
Yeah.
some cologne. You know what I mean?" And I was able to like secure a deal with Curve for a couple of. Uh, it's pretty much to the end of 2024 that I had to do a couple of obligations and videos and stuff. And
That's nice, man.
yeah, man, it was cool. And so like for them to reach out for a few like Jackson's, they like I honestly was gonna buy one of the chains just because one of my buddies has one of the chains and he likes it. And honestly, I'm not a big jewelry like wearer, but I like the chains. And so, I talked to my management and they're like, well, don't buy it. They're like, they like you actually. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, let me just talk to them. And so, I got a nice little like care package. So I was like so happy about like that and stuff. So I get love from around, different folks and stuff. So I'm happy about that. And yeah, man, I
Yeah.
hope for more to come. I really do. And if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. But ultimately, I got to make sure that I'm winning. And that's how this thing keeps growing. It keeps going in the right direction. And
Yeah.
ultimately, be one of the best guys in the world. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest goal, and I think I was in that other conversation with I think it was like MMA Junkie, and they wanted to know what what I thought about like being on the undisputed champion and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, like that's cool, but honestly, I'm kind of eyeing that BMF belt, man. That's the belt that I've been really want to
Oh,
shoot for,
okay. Okay. I like
like that's
that.
the one. Yeah, that's the one I eye a little
Okay.
bit more on. Yeah, for sure.
The BMF belt. Okay,
Yeah,
man. You're like the first person I've heard say like, "Yo, I'm gonna chase
yeah,
that BMF belt." That's actually
yeah,
a good. That's like a. That's. I see what you did there, Steve. I
yeah,
see what you did
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So Yeah, man, that would be crazy, dude. You would be a candidate, like honestly, you get up in these rankings, bro. You know what I'm saying, and you make some noise against some names. If somebody was to say Steve Garcia is fighting so and so for the belt, for the BMF belt, you'd be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see
Yeah,
that because Steve Garcia is a bad motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are what the BMF belt. You're the type of fighter that belt kind of caters to. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So it's a
yeah.
great idea, man. I like that.
Yeah, I like that push. You know, like I said, I gotta earn a couple more wins, hopefully in the same manner that I've been. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I honestly like I've never really considered you know breaking records and stuff like that, but that would also be like a pretty cool one, is because I think I'm tied for third or fourth longest in history. And
hmm,
so if I can get three more, you know what I mean? I'll be tied for first in history, in all of UFC. So how
yeah,
cool would that be, right? I
yeah.
know
That's cool as hell,
I'm
man.
yeah, I'm like the longest active. You know what I mean? But man, there's some cool goals to be met, and I think like if you make these short term goals and you really focus on them, the long terms are within a little bit of a distance. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
you really have to like meet those short term goals that will end up getting you to that long term one, which is obviously for all of us
yeah,
probably about, right?
yeah,
Um, so that's why I said it's almost just like one step in front of the next, and this get another finish. You know what I mean, with this fight coming up, and then we'll see after that. You know what I mean, and
yeah,
it's hard to be perfect. It's hard to be flawless. It's hard to do all those things, man. Especially against the most toughest guys in the world. I mean, like even with Edson, man, this dude was like he's probably one of the most dangerous strikers to ever fight in the octagon, and that's the truth. You know what I mean? And he's gonna be looking up across from me, and it's hilarious because people are like, "Oh, congrats on the fight," and I'm like, "Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it," because I know what they're trying to say. They're saying like, "Congrats on the opportunity like that you got now." But like, it's kind of funny because like in my head, I'm like, "Are you congratulating me to go get punched in the face by Edson Barboza?" I'm
yeah,
like, kind of, you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
kind of funny how that
Right,
works,
but,
right? But
what are
I
you
get where they're coming
congratulating me
from.
for? Yeah, like what are you congratulating me for? Hold on
Yeah,
now. Yeah, so
but
speaking
I
of
see
Edson
you.
Barboza, go ahead. Yeah, let's speaking about Edson Barboza, let's talk about that fight. Obviously, that's the next dance set. You know what I'm saying? So going into this fight, Steve, like what? I'm not asking you to give away your game plan. Of course, I would never do that. But you know, mentally, what are you? Because this is possibly like a fight where some fighters I've heard Robertson, Jillian Robertson say this a lot. You know, sometimes you got to go into that dark place in a fight. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
This is an opponent where he might, things. He's a tough opponent, very tough opponent. It's hard to put Edson Barboza away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So, and he's a battle tested veteran. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Very battle tested veteran. But so are you. This is a fight where you might have to dig deep. That could be a
Yeah.
possibility of what happens in here. And I just want to know kind of where you at with that, knowing that this is that type of fight.
You pretty much just said it. You almost kind of have to get into this, like darker headspace. You know what I mean? That's for sure. Ultimately, I'm not going to give away like what my intentions necessarily are as
Right.
far as like a game plan, but the biggest thing is that I'm going to welcome chaos in this fight. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to do. And with doing that, you almost have to accept that anything can happen. And I think and John Jones always told me, you know, uh, sometimes you just have to be able to just accept that the worst thing possible can happen, and if you accept that, you're almost free. And
Yeah.
so when he gets in there, he's like, you know what, I might get knocked out, but I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna shine like I've never shined before. You know what I mean? And that like spoke to me. You know what I mean? And it's cool to hear words from him directly out of his mouth. Because he understands. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is one of those fights. You know what I mean? To really just go in there and say, dude, you're probably gonna get beat up. You're probably gonna come out, a lot worse than the way that you came in. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean. We got to go for it. We got to go for it, understanding that this is probably the most dangerous fight you've had to date, and just be okay with that. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
have to accept that, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it being, a 3 round war. I would welcome the 5 round war with him. You
Ooh,
know what I mean?
five
But
rounds. That would be
yeah,
nice.
like we'll both probably go. If it went 5 rounds, we're both going to the hospital together. That's all I can
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those are the things that you know those are the type of conversations that I don't like to have with my wife, but I tell them you have to be ready. Anything can happen in those type of moments. And she just doesn't know how to act. And I understand that, but this is the path that I'm on, and the way that I want to do it, the way that I plan to do it, because I'm not here trying to outpoint Edson Barboza. We're not trying to do that. I'm trying to go out there and I'm trying to knock him out every chance I get. And that being said, I'm going to be put in a lot of positions where he can probably do the same. So, it's
Yeah.
a dangerous sport. It's against a dangerous opponent, and everybody at the top 15 are all killers. And I'm just trying to be part of that crew. That's really what it comes down to.
Steve, what does it feel like to be a modern day warrior and everybody that sees you fucking knows it? Like, what does that feel like, dude? Like, I just always like to ask fighters that, like,
Yeah,
you're a modern day warrior. What does it feel like?
dude, I got 2 feet, 2 arms. I'm just like you. I think a little differently than you. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
My mindset is a little bit different than most. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
most people will run from adversity, or they don't know how to handle adversity. They don't like confrontation. I don't like confrontation. There's a lot of things that we're all the same. You know what I mean? Just the way I think is just different. Um, and luckily, this is a sport. You know what I mean? Because man, uh, sidetrack. One of my bucket lists is to go to Rome, and go to the Colosseum, because I have this huge fascination when it comes to the gladiators and stuff like that. Like, I even have a gladiator Jeep. Like, I have this fascination with it. And kind of like you said, in a sense, you're almost like a modern day gladiator in that type of way. And I've always had this fascination with it. And maybe it's also because I was planning to enlist in the Marine Corps at a young age, and fighting just kind of took off. But um, yeah, I couldn't imagine how they work, because for me, I know that you know I should be going home to my family afterward. You know what I mean? Like, almost 10 times out of 10, I get to live and I get to go home, and win or lose, I get to see my family and be with them. But they didn't. You know what I mean? They were
Yeah.
really pretty much, accepting their fate, that if they died, they're gonna die doing what some of them loved, and some of them, just did it because that's they were supposed to do it. But yeah, man, the mindset is just crazy, man. I don't. It's kind of interesting, when you ask that question, because I have to almost think to myself, check myself. I'm like, what are you thinking here, bud? And uh, you know. I'm like, there's a little bit of crazy. I think to do what we
Yeah.
do, you got to be a little bit crazy. But you know what, man? Like, my parents, I think did a good job raising me and my brother. We got a good head on our shoulders, and I like to think I'm a pretty stand up guy. But yeah, I'm just a little wired differently. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Steve, I'm looking forward to this fight, man. I'm looking forward to. I mean, I'm gonna be on the edge of sanity when this fight gets ready to start, man. Because I can see it now, man. Like, the cameras in Steve Garcia's face. This guy just cut weight 24 hours ago. He's shredded. He looking massive in there for 45. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm imagining that, man. And then it's just, dude, it's gonna be it's gonna be chaotic, man. I
Yeah,
know it's gonna be chaotic, and
yeah,
it just seems like these are always the type of fighters that I happen to get on my podcast. So these dogs who go out there, man, and make, like,
yeah.
say, I'm like, how come the boring fighters don't ever want to do interviews with me, man? It's always the people that go out here and it's just mayhem when they fight every
I don't
time.
know, man. You attract to different type of people, I guess.
I guess, man. I guess. I
Hey,
guess,
hey,
man.
we're better to talk to anyways. Don't even worry
Yeah,
about it.
I mean, pretty much, pretty much,
Yeah,
pretty
you
much.
talk to
I
the
mean, the
boring
first
ones, they're
fighter,
gonna, yeah, they're gonna put you to sleep.
yeah, the first fighter I had on here regularly was UFC strawweight Jillian Robinson.
Okay. Yeah.
Crazy fights that this girl goes to, man. I'm just like, oh my goodness, the anxiety, man. But Steve, what is the first thing um, that you're gonna eat after the fight? I know you got your certain foods. I ask you this every time. You got certain foods that you gravitate toward. So I'm asking you now. Post weight cut, post win, all that stuff right now. Because I know right now you can't do what you want to do food wise. What are you looking forward to the most, my guy?
I'm not too sure. I've never been to Seattle, so I'm kind of curious to see what they got. That's where the fight's taking place,
Ooh,
and
okay.
you know, I normally after the weight cut, we go find pasta somewhere. I'm a big chicken Alfredo guy. I love that stuff,
Me too.
and yeah, dude, it's so good. And so we'll find
Yeah.
like an Olive Garden or like when we go to like Vegas, which a lot of my fights have been in. I think we go to Maggiano's, and they got some really good Alfredo there. So that's kind of where we've been. As far as like after the fight, like I said, I don't know what's down there. After like the Troy fight, we had In and Out. You know what I mean? I love In and Out.
In and out.
So because we
Okay.
don't, yeah, we don't have that here in Albuquerque. So I like that. And then this last time, after the Nelson fight, we went to the pizza place down in because I was craving pizza, and we went down to like where what's it called? It's not the Strip out in Vegas. It's what is it called? There's like it has like this like deal like on the ceiling and stuff. It's like a lot of casinos and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, what is it called? Anyways, it's a pretty popular place in Vegas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, they had this place. It was called like Dangerous Slice or something Slice. And dude, honestly, that pizza was freaking bomb. So I'm like, yeah, it was good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I got to have like my like core family there for the most part, and dude, it's just like that's when you get to sit down. Normally, it starts when you're like, in the back where like you get to take off this weight vest of just like all this weight.
Oh
People
yeah. Oh yeah.
people don't understand like what that feels like because you have you know for me, I put like my family on my shoulders. I put my team on my shoulders. I put my coaches on my shoulders. I put my livelihood. I put everything. Put my fans on my shoulders. I know everybody does, but people don't understand what kind of pressure that's like. And when you do what everybody expected you to do, and you're able to take that off and just breathe like a normal person, man, it's something special. It's something special. And you get to like for me, it's like I go into my hotel room, and I just I'll go in the shower, and sometimes like I'll just sit down and just like
Yeah.
dwell in that and just be grateful. And I'll even pray in the shower. I don't even care. I'm just blessed and happy and thankful that like to the extent of what I'm willing to do is practically go out there and almost die, and
Yeah.
I didn't. I did it, and I was
Yeah.
successful. I came out on top. I can breathe. You know what I mean? And I feel
Yeah.
like people, I'm not saying that women don't have this, but man, like as a man, to get the job done, to provide for your family, to show up, to inform everybody that like I'm the real deal, man, and to actually walk the walk. You know what I mean? It's huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are just moments that like I really appreciate and love. But man, dude, like I said, this is roller coaster of just chaos. It's
Yes,
crazy.
sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Well, we're here for it, man. A couple questions and I'm gonna get you out of here. Comic 99 says, what did you think of the card last night?
Oh man, I didn't get to watch the fights, man. So we had BYB. So I think it's called Backyard Brawls or something like that. And I had a corner one of my
Oh,
buddies.
okay.
So I
Okay.
didn't get to yeah, I didn't get to watch it. But yeah, man, dude, Bare Knuckles wild, man. Bare Knuckles
No,
crazy.
of
Those guys nuts.
course. Yes. And I gotta get your prediction, man, for um Islam Makhachev versus Arman Sarukian, dude. That's a crazy
That's
fight.
crazy.
And Arman Sarukian is looking like a monster ahead of this fight,
Yeah,
dude. Like, what do
I
you
agree.
think? I got to get a UFC fighter's opinion about this
Yeah,
fight.
he's the guy that's gonna give him his run for his money, but Makachev will come out on top. One, you got to be
You
able to
think
take the
so?
belt from
Okay.
Makachev. Yeah, you got to take the belt from the champ. You're gonna have to, and it's Sarkurian. Is that how you say his name?
Sarukian. Yeah, Arman
Sar, Sar,
Sarukian.
yeah, Sarukian. He was actually one of his toughest fights early on. Makachev's toughest fights. So I don't know. I feel like right now, I mean, he's almost like Khabib in a sense. I feel like he's almost better than Khabib. The fact that he actually is willing to strike. You know what I mean? Um, and as far as Armand, I'm like, dude, like you got it, you got it. Like, don't let nobody, you know, say otherwise, because you can be that guy. Like, you got the qualities that you need to be able to beat him. You know what I mean? But sometimes it just, not your time to be champ. You know what I mean? And 155 is, dude, it's so deep. It's a
It's
crazy
crazy.
division. It's a crazy
Yeah, it
division,
is
but
crazy.
yeah, I don't see Makhachev losing.
It's hard to see him lose right now. He beat Charles, he beat so many people, and everybody was saying, Benil Dariush, and I'm just like, I don't know, y'all. Like, it's gonna be
Yeah.
hard to see somebody beat him right now. I got another title fight that I want to ask you about too, Steve. I want to drop down to strawweight. I want to hear your thoughts
Okay.
about Zhang Wei Li versus Tatiana Suarez coming up. What are
Yeah.
you feeling about that fight?
So I think most people probably go with Whaley, right? But Suarez, dude, that girl's tough, dude. And honestly, I don't know if they're married or not, but I do know that she's in a relationship with one of my buddies,
Patchy, yeah,
Patchy. Yeah, Patchy. And I'll tell you what, that dude's on a mission too. You know what I mean? So both of them are like, I think feeding off of each other. Both of them are hungry.
yeah,
Both of them are
yeah.
are really just like, in a place of just dominance. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. The only problem about Suarez though is that it's been a minute since she's actually like been consistent in competition. So to fight like super high level weight, like someone like Wei Lee, is going to be very, very challenging, very difficult. Um, you
And it's
know,
5 rounds, and it's her first 5 rounder.
yeah, yeah, and it is the first 5 rounder. I mean, if you're gonna bet smart money, everybody's probably gonna go Whaley because she's fought. I don't know how many fights, 5 rounds. She's been the champion. She's shown out. You know what I mean? But Suarez is that type of like gritty person that's gonna go in there and is gonna just test her at every freaking um, dimension of whatever a fight will take place in as far as a scrap. You know what I mean? So I think Suarez is like almost the same thing. Suarez has the tools to get it done. She does. I'm excited to see it because she's undefeated. I think, right? She hasn't
Yep.
lost. She's good.
No,
Yeah, she's really
no.
good. I think she has the qualities to beat Wei Lee, and um, like I said, it just that's the only disadvantage I think she has is the experience and the consistency. It's not even the talent. She has the talent, she has the skill set. It just all that other stuff that plays in the factor of this fight.
Yeah, and speaking of, and I'm glad I'm glad I got you here, Steve, because I want to ask you one more thing, man.
Yeah,
And I'm sure you've seen the girl from PFL, Dakota Ditcheva, beating Tyler Santo. Everybody's talking about Dakota Ditcheva right now, and
yeah,
I've come under a lot of heat. You know what I'm saying, in the past couple of weeks, saying, yes, Dakota Ditcheva is good, but when she comes into if she comes into the UFC and faces these flyweights, Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso, Aaron Blanchfield, it may not go as easy as it went for her over in PFL. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah.
these girls are on a different level. And you've been on the Bellator scene, you've been on the regional scene, Steve. You know the levels of this thing. So I understand being a fan of somebody, but let them know, Steve, that there are levels to this shit.
I mean, that's 100% correct. There's levels, and I'm not saying that people can't come over and be successful. Kayla Harris is one of them that has done it. You know what I mean? She's came over and she's been successful, but um, you look at someone like Michael Venom Page, super successful in Bellator, super well known, super like it just like honestly a really fun like a fan favorite type of fighter. And he's coming here and he hasn't been able to just steamroll through people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's levels. Same with Michael Chandler. Like he was there time when he was the king in Bellator. You know what I mean? Comes over and I think he's what 2-3. All very exciting fights. They're all so good. They're all very very good. They're very talented. They can hang. They can hang with the best. They can compete. But as far as like the quality of competition goes, you're going through the best of the best in the UFC. So someone like her name is Dakota, right? I
Yeah.
haven't, I haven't, I haven't. I've seen like some of her stuff. I can't like really pinpoint a ton of it, but yeah, I know she's kind of highly touted to do well. And so she comes up to. Is she planning to come to the UFC? Did she plan to the UFC?
Well, they did, but then she decided to stay at PFL. But it was just
Okay,
everybody running around saying like she smokes Valentina, she smokes Alexa Grasso, Aaron Blanchfield, all those fighters. I'm
yeah,
like, whoa.
yeah. I'm telling you, you got to be different. Like even when Cyborg came over, she was doing really well, but then she met Mana Nunez. You know what I mean? And that ended pretty quickly. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that that's not it can be done or anything like that. It can be done, but the level of competition in the UFC globally is insane. It's insane. Like I fought myself a couple people from Brazil. I fought a person from Canada. I fought a person here in the States. I fought people from pretty much from everywhere, and you're getting all walks of life. And I think PFL really they're a little limited. You know what I mean? So I don't think you're necessarily getting like the cream of the crop. You know, and honestly, what's kind of crazy is like I feel like Bellator had some monsters, man, and it sucks. Like I know that there's a lot of things going on with PFL Bellator, whatever is going on. I kind of feel for them because like they're almost in like this like lobby just waiting to be called to fight. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
feel for them because a lot of these guys is how they make their money. Um, so like I feel for them in that sense.
Patchy Mix being one of them.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
how
he's
steady.
one of them.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
he's quality. I think he can come over. Truly, I think he can come over, and I think he can definitely test for the belt. I mean, he trains with the champ. You know what I mean? So he knows
Right.
where his levels at with Marat. You know what I mean? They've trained
Right.
together. I've seen pictures with them, so he knows where
Right.
his levels at. You know what I mean? Make striking
Yeah.
wise, you know what I mean. That's a little bit different story, but when we're looking at champions, we're looking at people that can obtain a belt. He is one of them. He can definitely get it for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Steve, we all think the same about you, man. A lot of people are starting to think the same about you. A lot of people are looking forward to what it is. We're looking forward to 2025 from Steve Garcia because a lot of eyes. I'd say in the last couple of years, dude, you're starting to gain a lot of eyes. People are starting to say, "Okay, Steve Garcia is on this card." I think even the last fight you had when they were announcing that card on a card, they were like, featherweight finisher Steve Garcia. Like they're starting to put those labels on you, bro. And and I'm just glad that you're staying level headed about it, and you're just putting in the work. Yes, the hype and the talk is going to be there when you're winning, but the hype and the talk is not something that Steve Garcia feeds off of, man. And we're all excited to see what you bring to the table for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You've been a real one,
Yes, sir.
for this whole time. You've been trying to get my attention for some quite some time now, and honestly, I appreciate you doing it because I love having these conversations with you, man.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? I still got a lot of proving to do. You know what I mean? It's just it's gonna take more fights, but yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun ride for sure. It's gonna be great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, man, I like having these conversations too, man. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and it's always a pleasure to look forward to your fights. This one is, I didn't think actually that you would be doing interviews this close to a fight. You know what I'm saying? I was like, well, his fight's right around the corner, but I'm glad. Thank you, of course, for your time, Steve. I've taken up enough of your time here. But I am going to leave the floor to you, my guy. You can say a shout out to your sponsors, anybody, and say your closing words, man. And I'm going to let you go and let you enjoy the rest of your day.
Well, thanks, man. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. It's just, I just want to say thank you to all the fans, for everybody on the platform, everybody that's, been following me and there's more room for people to jump on the coattail. You know what I mean? And I promise to deliver as much as I can. All I can promise is that I give you everything I got. And it's been working great for me lately. But you know what, man, we're fighting the best of the best, and I understand that. But I am one of the best, so we're gonna go out there, we're gonna kill it, and it's just more to come. Sky's the limit, and just I always give praise to God. I
Yes,
literally am
sir.
nothing without him, and
Yes,
my
sir.
family, everybody around me, all my support system, man. You guys are great. So yeah, man, let's go out there and let's freaking kill it. Why not?
All right, guys. Steve Garcia versus Edson Barboza. That is no miss fight. You want to see if you this is the type of fight that if you have MMA friends that don't watch MMA, if you want to introduce them to the sport, tune in to Steve Garcia versus Edson Barboza because that's gonna reel them in. There's no
This is
doubt
must
in
see
my mind
TV.
that it won't reel them in.
This is must see
So,
TV for sure.
absolutely. Must see
Yeah,
TV. Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
All right, Steve. And that's it, man. The coldest motherfucker in the game. Future number 15 ranked UFC featherweight Steve Garcia, guys. Don't miss out. Follow him on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook. Follow him. He ain't going to talk back to you, so don't inbox him. So it just is what it is.
Hey, brother.
Peace out,
Hey, man,
Steve.
you got to be special. You got to be like this guy.
Yes. Right, you got to be in the loop. I appreciate you,
Yeah,
Steve, and I'll catch up
for
with
sure.
you. We'll do this again around
Yeah,
summertime. After you done knocked
yeah.
out two more motherfuckers, we'll do this again summertime.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, yeah. We can
Yes,
definitely do
sir.
that for sure, brother. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. I'll catch you next time, Steve.
Have a good day, man. God bless.
Yes, sir. You too, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. There you have it. UFC featherweight Steve Garcia. He's the man. He's the man. And I am excited to see what we get from 2025 from Steve Garcia. This fight with Edson Barboza is a must watch. So, guys, be ready to watch that. When is this fight happening? Let's see. Let me look this up. Steve Garcia versus Edson Barboza. When is that fight happening? That fight is happening soon. Let me see here. February 22nd, guys. A little bit over a month and 10 days. Whew. A month and 10 days. Wow. Wow. That fight is in a month and 10 days. UFC Fight Night 252. Oof. Steve Garcia 17-5. Edson Barboza 24-12. You don't want to miss that one. I can tell you that. But anyways, guys, I'm getting off of here. There you have it. I'll catch y'all on the flip. This is your boy BJ back from No Filter MMA. Drop those comments in the comment section. Hit that like, hit that dislike. And if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button and your boy is out.